out of the over 1,000 I took the 2 months, and to divide it, to give you a feel as what impressed me. One, nature as a teacher, as a healer, a nurturer, and our comforter. So it starts all with an amazing, started with a light here. When the Antelope Canyon in Arizona, everybody needs to go there, is, and you can look it up, it's an unbelievable experience. It was actually where everything came together. This is a canyon of sandstone and nothing to it, unless at a certain time of the day, the light comes through the opening on top, which then creates these reflections from the sandstone. And these formations are going back millenniums of floods, rain floods, and washed out below. This canyon was discovered by an Indian woman. And you can all read up about it, but what this told me is like the otherwise you go in there, it's very dark, and then like darkness in life, which we have, and then you see there's always light. We say there's light at the end of the tunnel. And this is in nature. This is totally, there's nothing man-made here, nothing on the opening or ever. So there's, if you feel, always never lose hope. There's light in the tunnel. And so you walk through life. We always think pre-planned, this is all how life has to turn out. Our plans, this is how I have planned, and this is how it has to work out. Well, what if there in the plan is a crack on life, and suddenly, what do? You get frustrated, you get upset, or you find a way of finding your way back. There's just a detour. You may have to go down the wall and go up again. It's just a visual. It struck me very much how I relate to that. As you see, the stone cracked here. This was my lifeline, bingo. And it took quite a bit to get on the other side again. And that's how I feel. You know, how life turned out, not the same. And with all of us, it doesn't turn out the way we envision, never. So then we think we are so great. We are powerful, we have it, we can conquer. Until you get to the Redwoods and you stand there and you have wow. And you have, suddenly you walk down there and it is a very humble walk. And many of you may have experienced this, but this was so humbling. It was in the Redwoods of Southern Oregon, Northern California, in the upper Redwoods, the wetland. So it's just, that was a very, very powerful experience. And so I just asked somebody to capture that. And so we are just, we think we are so big, we are just a speck, and to be reminded visually.
I've heard about the depth, you know, Redwood Forest, but you really get to see it when you see how tiny you are there. Wow.
Exactly. And not only that you see it, you feel it. That's the difference. You can see it. I mean, all of us have seen it. We go on top of the mountains, and but you still feel bigger when you see all the mountains around you. But here you are on the bottom of it, and you feel the powering and energy. And Redwoods, I talk a little bit about it later. They are the greatest teacher for us. That's why they have survived so long. Then I let's see where And nature survives under very harsh conditions. And it is amazing how nature clings to life. What do? We cling to life in every way we can.
You need to click on the next picture. I think you're talking about the next picture.
There you go. Right. And you see, this is at a creek. And what strikes me, the root system here, the survival of the roots, and the roots creep along in order to find a little area so that the tree can be nourished. Here is a tree totally, you can see, deformed from water years ago, but it's surviving. There's still life in it. Here's another one. I look through the rotten roots. They hang on the carved, on the stone. And would you know it, the tree was alive. You know,
is that tree rather than rock that we're looking at?
That's a tree we are looking here.
Wow.
It's a tree, and here are the rocks. And the ground, here's part of the bark. And the bark comes then together, and on top of it, Sheila, I thought of you. What do you see here?
Oh, I probably see faces. I see a profile there. I'll talk about it in a minute.
I see a heart. I see a heart here. I see a heart here. All right. Moving.
Oh, go ahead. I'm not going to point out to other things. Go ahead. Sorry.
This was amazing to me. This was in Bryce Canyon. And, here I walked a walkway, which was not really very popular, of course. I went off the beaten track. And look at this amazing root system. These are roots from this pine tree, trying to get into the dirt to get any bit of soil, because the slope went then pretty deep down, and survival. Then
so wait a minute, hold on to that picture a minute, Ute. I was going to wait till after you were finished to describe the experience. What I'm seeing, and years back, and some of you watching may have the same thing, I discovered that some people see the whole picture and I see the parts. So right. Ute is seeing this whole experience. The first thing that catches my eye is the root on the right, and I see somebody lying flat on the ground with legs widespread. And that's where my focus would be. Now, Ute's saying, yes, she sees it. And it's the whole that caught her first and what it means.
It's absolutely true. And then I go closer. Yeah, there is somebody lying there. There's a sculpture here and all of it. But to me, the amazement of the survival of that tree under horrid circumstance, under natural conditions, you can see in the roots reflect this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, here, all lava flow from an old volcano. There comes, how did this tree survive up there under wind conditions and all of it? Pretty amazing. And then you walk along, suddenly you get a little signal from the tree, and you will appreciate that, Sheila.
The heart and two figures embracing. Yeah.
That was pretty unique. At first I didn't grasp it, then I went back. So
it becomes one face too, as I look at it. So
exactly. And then I drive through to, this is how I walk. And when I drive and suddenly also walk, I interject here something, a whimsical creativity of man. This was the funniest, a small village. And I walk the sidewalk, and here pops this thing out here. Had no purpose except being like that. And I thought it was pretty funny, the creativity in all of us. Somebody thought something about it. I asked, what does this mean? Nobody knows. And so I'd interject sometimes a little bit of these. And here comes the nurturing this is amazing. In the redwoods, you see the redwood here. It had fallen down. It was over 1,000 years old. What the redwood does, nurtures, brings out new plants, and they nurture, they nourish from the old redwood. When a redwood gets sick also, it sends out new sprouts and a full new tree begins. And this is a very old, you see the roots of a new redwood here developing. It's pretty amazing. This one doesn't belong here, but, and so you have other examples. You see that from the rotten woods, and they're all thriving. What redwoods also do, when one gets sick, you see this one here was a sick main mother plant, and the ranger explained that. I went with a tour. You see this branch and you see this branch. From either side, when the redwood gets sick, either side it develops new trees, which then grows and envelops the mother tree, so the mother tree wouldn't fall. And here's an example of two trees having formed, and already another new little one coming out. These two were separate trees, but both are ancient, and they merge to each other to support each other. And you know what my thoughts are, right? And they are pretty big. Here I would walk through this here, and it's just very amazing.
No, so I don't know what your thoughts are. What are you going to say your thoughts were, or just how small you were?
I'm sorry?
I don't know what your thoughts were. So is it just how small you were?
Of older trees, kind of, they were not as strong anymore, and they merged to hold together, to be one, support each other. At the same time, allowing new sprouts, which eventually will totally, over years and years, you and I will not live long enough to see this, but they have studied this. So it's not, I'm not making this up, but I was so incredibly intrigued by it, how nature supports. I thought, my mind went even further. Okay, here are two grandmothers holding each other and nurturing the little one, eventually, hopefully becoming a strong tree. And another phenomena is, you see in the northern redwoods, this is not, the trees nourish, get moisture from the fog. It's an ongoing fog, and the life underneath is very rich. That's, I bring in this picture because this is where a transformation. The life underneath is very rich. That's, I bring in this picture because this is where.
Sorry, what it was is I was just checked Facebook Live on the thing to see how the sound was coming through. So you heard that. It is recording, and I checked it on my phone.
Right. I interject, I put this picture in there because this is when I became aware of incredibly feeling overwhelmed from the beauty, from the colors, the green colors. It's so lush, the picture can't even convey it. And I walked for hours here alone, didn't meet anybody. And here, you see, I walked through it, and somehow, and I was so overwhelmed and taken how I almost had absorbed all of it from what the redwoods were telling me, teaching me, that I extended my trip and spent 2 more days there, just walking. I had to. And one interesting part is, if anybody knows, this is a banana slug, and you can read up on it. They only live in the northwestern moist forest grounds in the redwoods. What intrigued me about this is they usually come out at night, but this one came out, it's a small one, and they clean the ground under the redwoods, particularly keep the ground bacteria free, so the roots would not rot or wouldn't get sick from viruses or anything. They have a very healing or decomposing importance, particular in that area, which I thought was pretty cool. Again, how nature, living things intertwine and not only destructive, but they also are in a way nurturing, want to keep the roots healthy of the redwoods. And so then again, I intertwined the creativity of people, of us. He was in the middle of nowhere. Somebody put a motorcycle together with, they're all horseshoes, and it's in the horse country. And so I thought it was pretty unique. And again, somewhere painted the garbage cans, and it just was, again, the creativity of people. They would never make it to the gallery, probably, because artists are not, there's also a class difference very much, and I thought it was pretty unique, and I found it over and over in the smallest, most isolated areas, enormous expression of creative, whimsical minds. And so I wasn't the only solo person traveling. I parked at one national park, and in front of me were two women taking a nap, traveling similar as I was traveling, except they had a bigger car than I did. I thought it was pretty funny.
I saw that picture when you shared them before. I wonder what that was. I thought that was you and a friend or something.
So yes, it was pretty cool. And so at pretty much coming home and feeling so wonderful within myself that I thought it's unreal. And pretty much at the end, I came across a sunflower field, was miles long. And as you know, there's no coincidence, I guess, because sunflowers stand for hope and joy. And that I hoped for continuous peaceful aging process.